Hi, my name is Emily Osgood, and I grew up here at Robert McClure United Church. As the preacher's kid, I always felt like I belonged and sort of owned the place. For those who may not know me, it's because there was COVID, and then I was away at university, and then I worked at a different United Church last year, and more recently, I have been growing in other areas that have taken me away from Robert McClure United Church. Now that I'm an adult, there is something you should know about me. I'm a lesbian, and queer liberation is something that is very important to me. And so I wanted to shed light on something you may not have noticed before, especially if you're an ally to the LGBTQ+ community. I want to talk about closets. In the movies, coming out of the closet is one big emotional event. There's often a big reaction from the other person, from parents, from friends, from the community. It's often the end of the movie or the whole point of the story. For example, in the movie Love, Simon gets blackmailed into coming out, then he comes out to his family in an emotional and dramatic fashion, then he outs his boyfriend in what is supposed to be a big romantic gesture. Looking back at this movie, I'm confused and alarmed by the way the outing of these two people was handled. When I first watched the film, I thought, I definitely do not want any of these things to happen to me. I don't want this to be my coming out story. This movie is one example of many that portrays coming out as one big event with a big reaction. But in my reality, coming out happens every day, and it's an ongoing process for the rest of my life. It doesn't have to be emotional, and I personally want to avoid the big reaction because whether the person I'm coming out to is supportive or not, the reaction often makes my coming out about them. It turns my story into their reaction to my story. In my life, I wasn't in the closet for a second. I gave my family live updates as I was questioning my sexuality. Even though I was never in the closet on purpose, I still had to and still have to come out to many people. Coming out is an everyday experience for me. People build closets around me when they make assumptions in their conversations. For example, people ask me if I have a boyfriend instead of saying something neutral like partner. These assumptions are especially frustrating when they happen in counseling because we have more important things to discuss. Once I mentioned my girlfriend and the counselor referred to them as my friend and I corrected her. She made coming out more difficult than it had to be in that moment. Another time I used they/them pronouns to talk about a partner and the counselor used he/him pronouns to refer to this person even though I had a pride flag behind me in the Zoom call. I didn't bother to correct him because like I said, we had more important things to discuss. When the new church logo was in process, I designed a logo, and it was meant to reflect our affirming ministry status. My sexuality, therefore, came up in conversations about the logo, and an assumption was made that I was straight. These kinds of assumptions are frustrating to me. Because of experiences like these, I now come out to people as soon as possible when I meet new people. I don't want to give people time to make assumptions. Our assumptions put people in closets. As someone who is comfortable being out to anyone, people's assumptions build closets around me that I then have to come out of. Even as queer people, we can make these assumptions. Even I make these assumptions sometimes. I have assumed on multiple occasions that someone in a queer space is gay when they are actually another type of queer. If you do make an assumption, it doesn't help to make a big deal out of it. Instead, you can apologize and move on without making it about yourself. We're all learning and we're all going to make mistakes along the way. So I guess what I'm saying is, when I say girlfriend, I mean it romantically. Thanks for listening, everyone. I appreciate what you're doing as an affirming congregation. It matters.